So I mentioned before about some of the common negative perceptions.
Mike Tazio.
Some of the negative perceptions of job seekers who have been out of work for 52 weeks or longer. Probably the most unfair part of this whole experience that I think long-term unemployed are going through is the fact that they picked up some tags. I mean, be it 99ers or 79ers or just the unemployed, long-term unemployed, you name it, they are carrying these stigmas that in and of themselves are becoming code words for discrimination and prejudice. So not only are you facing a world in which a lot of folks, a lot of businesses may say that your skills are not as sharp as they should be, that your unemployment might have meant that you lost touch with the business or the environment that you did before. And a lot of people that don't understand this think you're lazy, you're unwilling to learn, you're keeping your salary requirements very high. None. I'm not going to deny that there may be cases or some evidence of some of that, but I will tell you from my experience, and it's solely based upon 2 years of being immersed in this whole issue of long-term unemployment, that from a general standpoint, that is not the case. It is absolutely not the case. They are not people that want an easier road. They're people that want their lives back. The next one will tell you something about what studies and other reports have done in terms of giving us information about what happens with long-term unemployment. And again, we're talking about the group that we deal with here, which is 2 years of unemployment, because Connecticut is one of the states that offers 99 weeks of benefits. And clearly, once you hit the 5-month point, you begin to really question seriously whether or not there's any value to continue to look. Within 5 months, you're going to have, if you're an active job seeker, you're going to have hundreds of denials, phone calls not returned, all kinds of disappointment occur. And for a lot of folks, it begins that process of giving up. We know, again, from studies that fewer than 4 in 10 are confident that they will ever find a job from that point on, or earn enough of money to support themselves as they did before. We also know that it's gotten so deep and so severe that about 1/3 of the folks have had to move in with family or friends. And I talk about things that change your life. Move out of your house and move in with family or friends. The issues as far as how it might affect one's health, mental health, physical health, and otherwise, I think everyone on the line here today could understand that there's no way you can get beyond things like depression when you're facing a future of this sort and you're feeling isolation and a sense of abandonment. And they've got a right to feel like they've been abandoned, and in some cases you hear some of the business school directors or the deans, which I have heard, often think, well, this is what you got to do to move or transition from the pre-recession economy to the post-recession. It's going to mean that we're going to be shedding a lot of people from the workforce. This is what they have to confront every single day. And if we have to wonder why they feel hopeless, just look around us. Let me just say, let's look at the next group. We've had 2 years that we have been deep into this issue of long-term unemployment. You'll hear about the Platform to Employment program, which kind of grew out of our activities on this thing. But I wanted you to see this because I want to be clear on something. 2 years of unemployment, and this measures changes in terms of what happens to the person and what their particular needs might be from a workforce system that is supposed to be preparing them and compensating for their barriers, but really getting them prepared. You cannot treat unemployment like there's no difference between being unemployed a week and being unemployed 2 years. If we're in the business to compensate for barriers and to keep folks as prepared as possible to compete, we all hope that there'll be a surge of a recovery. And I think the objective is to make sure folks are ready for that. If we don't understand what happens to you over a period of 2 years and know that a system should be in place to adapt and adjust as your needs change, then we're making a serious mistake and we're doing an injustice to our fellow Americans who are seeking nothing more than the America promised to all. So I think this gives us, I'm not going to go through all the items on it. You can see them, you can read them, but I will tell you, having just come off the platform to employment, we had 5 cohorts in the study that we learned all of this from that experience, and I think it's common all across the nation if you were to do the same for long-term unemployed in your region. So let me bring you to the conclusion of my remarks here. What's my vision? Why you're here? And what I want you to take away. The American workforce system, and we've got nearly 3,000 one-stops coast to coast, and our job is to keep the American workers as job ready, as opportunity ready as possible. Cannot get everybody a job, and I don't think that is our responsibility. Our responsibility is to keep a system in place that will serve to actually enable people to compensate for barriers and go out into the job-seeking world and compete. And in order to do that, you need to understand that needs change at various junctures of unemployment, and you need to respond to them. So one of the tools that I started using 2 years ago is what I call a roundtable. Now, I mention it because there is a diverse group of folks on this webinar. And I don't want anybody here to think, well, if you're not a WIB director or a workforce director, I wonder why I'm here. Don't think that way. This is a case in which our job over the next several months is to create for the 99ers or 79ers a sense of acknowledging that they are there, a sense of exploring a number of different remedies of ways in which our system can adapt and adjust so that we can serve them properly, and to restore a sense of hope in their lives. This is very, very important. And no matter who you are on this line, you don't need to have a license of being a WIB to create a roundtable. I only wish that every senator, every congressman, every mayor, every major business leader, every community leader would devote 2 hours a month to just sitting with a group of 8 to 10 of the 99ers of long-term unemployed and have no agenda. Let them tell you something about what their experience has been, their job search, their previous employment, and how it's affecting their family and their lives. I guarantee you, if you did that, you would take from those experiences a sense of resolve that this is not an economic issue. This is not a workforce issue. This is a moral question. It's a challenge to every American. They have a right to the America promised freedom and justice and opportunity. They are being denied opportunity, and we can correct it. And it takes a firm commitment on the part of whether you be the federal government, the state government, you be foundations, you be business leaders, you be from social service groups. It's a time to act as an American. You know, I showed you a storm cloud earlier. We have seen hurricanes and tornadoes. And America does what it should do. It steps in with FEMA and a lot of other groups, and we remain at the site of the storm until things are corrected and families get a chance to return to the way things were. That's the American way. Now we're seeing here 4 million plus people that are walking the plank, that are going to get off the radar screen, eventually out of the whole calculation of the American labor force. They have a right to feel as if they've been abandoned. They have a right to feel as if their hope has been cut off. Our job is to restore it. So everybody on this line today has some role that you can play, and I think the roundtable that you'll hear more about in just a few minutes is the vehicle whereby everybody can do it. Doesn't cost any money, doesn't really cause a lot of work, but it's a way of opening the door to regional discussion and recognition about this new group of people that are developing in our system, that we have an obligation to help them to restore the American dream for all of them. That's my work. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.